Well, I took the number 3 bus to Heritage Station, LRT. Back in the day, the number 3 would go all the way down Elbow Drive to Anderson, if I remember correctly. It would go as far south as Canyon Meadows, but now it only goes to here and then back up and out again and north. So I'll take my train from here to Anderson and then my bus.
Anderson Station. Doors normally open on the left.
Yeah, it's been over 40 years since I've been here. No more escalator. I guess they have an elevator here. But they pulled the escalator out. And this station was completed in 1980. Yeah, everything's kind of different up here. I had friends that lived in these condo duplexes. Well, drug dealers, I guess. You know, back in the day, the bus barns, this is the used to be the end of the line, but now the LRT goes much further south. But that's when they broke ground. That would have been 1978 when they tore down the old Corral drive-in that used to be right here. And now I'm gonna go back inside. Now, before the LRT, there used to be a bus that would run into Lake Bonavista. There was 2. The 102 Blue Arrow and the 103 Blue Arrow. And the number 10 went in there as well. Manchester, number 10. And I would either get the number 29 Queensland coming home, because that was close to where I lived. Oh, all of this is totally different. Used to be able to go down an escalator inside and come outdoors below me. Now it's elevator in there or stairs. Wonder why they changed that. Probably for the better. Escalators never work these days, no matter where you go. Totally different. And I'm sure they must have moved my bus stop by now. So the number 35 Bonavista, I don't think that route started till about 1982. It was something before that for a brief period. Yeah, there's 35 west. I want 35 east, which is just behind this, and they're little rinky-dink buses. Wow, things sure have changed since I was here. South Centre Shopping Centre is over there. And yeah, the LRT is so different. The doors used to be right here on the main floor. There was some steps that went up like 6 stairs. Main doors were there, and then there was an escalator, just like the other side with the ramp like that. They used to have that here. I wonder when they changed all this. So I just talked to the bus driver on the 35 West bus, and he said that they changed the station about 5 years ago. So that sloped glass thing used to be the escalators there and stairs, went across, and it was the same thing here. It would have been a sloped glass thing with escalators. He said they pulled that out about 5 years ago, and that many people complained. There is still an elevator, but when it's busy, how do you fit 30 or 40 people onto a small elevator? It was just a really bad idea, because at rush hour these stations are packed, and not everybody can take stairs, you know. They have I looked at the elevator, it is a fair size, but I just can't see it handling that kind of volume. People would be waiting. Weird. City planners, you know. The people that don't actually use the system are the ones that make all the decisions. That's the way it is everywhere. Stupid. But the driver was from Mexico City. And he's been here since 2006. And there's also a ramp there for people in a wheelchair if they can't get on the elevator. And that's funny, my bus stop is in the exact same place it was 40 plus years ago, even 45 years ago. Almost 45 years ago. Same island. Right here. It's just kind of weird standing here from this perspective looking at all this, because I really haven't seen this from this perspective since the early 1980s. So nothing's changed looking. City has changed a lot, but from here, it looks the same. And that crosswalk across McLeod Trail, I'm pretty sure that was there. I think they would have built that in the 80s sometime. And that's South Center Shopping Center. South Center Mall over there. And back in my day, there was only the 35. That sign up there says 35E, 35 East. And this sign here says 35 West. So the bus used to only go from here to Lake Bonavista and then loop and come back, and it would just do a loop. Obviously now it goes to the west, which is way over that way. And Lake Bonavista is over in the east, so I guess the 35 West, maybe it goes up into Canyon Meadows, up that way. I'm really not sure. So that's another change. So here's my junior high. It's just called Nickel School now, so I think it might be grades. Maybe it combines part of elementary school and junior high school. But when I went here, it was grades 7, 8, and 9. And straight ahead where that building is used to be 7-Eleven, and all the kids would go hang out there. And this hill, we would hang out up here, and there was a fence that went around it. It was just known as the hill. So I'm just gonna go. I went in the front doors a few minutes ago and asked if I could do a tour. There's a Chinese cultural thing, some classes in the gymnasium, but they wouldn't let me do a tour of the school, understandably. They said to come back and make an appointment. So I'm just gonna go in here and make a quick video just to sort of show just the entranceway here. And this would have been this was my gymnasium here, and that's the school office. And at that time it was Principal Holden was my principal. I'm not sure if that's Carl Nickel. That's who the school is named after. Yeah, thanks. And I would have walked out those doors. There was never a fence here when I went to school. And those tables might have been incorporated at some point, but not when I went here. There was always a flag on that pole. And yeah, I have a lot of weird memories of this school. And I think some good, some bad. Mostly bad, I think, at that point in my life. Now, this is Lake Bonavista Drive. And I would have walked or rode my bike. You know, I'm clocking all of this on my step counter so I can actually figure out how far I walked. I used to always just guesstimate. And there's the school field. Bike racks used to be right here. There was a huge a few rows of bike racks for bicycles. I don't see that anymore. I wonder where kids lock their bikes now. Maybe just to the fence, I guess. But it's a really nice neighborhood, Bonavista. Well, this is Bonaventure. This is Lake Bonavista Drive, which sort of travels through Lake Bonavista and Lake Bonaventure, which are neighboring neighborhoods. There's really no transition. It's hard to distinguish the two. Bonavista is a few years older. It was developed maybe 6 to 7 years earlier, I'm guessing. These homes would have been built in the early to mid 70s, most of these houses here. So there's the school field. Wow. There's a huge Canadian flag way back there, but I think that's on somebody's property. Hard to tell. Well, there's another school over there too. I forget what that school is called. I think in behind there. But there's also been a lot of changes way over there. It was all open field and stuff. Now it's developed with businesses and strip malls, so it could be a flag there. Yeah, this walk used to seem so long when I was 12 years old, but I bet you I'll do it in 10 minutes. No, I think it would probably take me 20 minutes to get home from where I am right now to my old home. Wow, it's just weird walking here. And I haven't walked this. I mean, I've been back in Bonavista, Bonaventure. Dushka and I came here maybe 10 years ago and visited a neighbor across the street. And we did that by car. We drove this. But to walk this, I haven't walked. Oh, that's icy. I have not walked this since 1979. Would have been 78, 79 or something like that. By which point I was starting high school. And I went to a different school in Canyon Meadows. And it's a beautiful day. We're going to be, I think, 8 to 10 degrees today. So it's a perfect day to get out for a walk. So there's more of this. Same kind of homes as we meander around all these turns. So I'm going to shut the camera off. And I'll resume when something of interest strikes me. Wow, these houses used to seem so big when I was younger. It's funny. They're still rather large, but it was a nice neighborhood to grow up in. And of course we had the lake. Now, Lake Bonaventure is a smaller man-made lake, and but it's only accessible to people who live on the lake, whereas Lake Bonavista is accessible to everybody. Even those who reside in Bonaventure, I believe, can get a lake card. You get a card and you have access to the lake grounds, the beaches there. There's 2 beaches at Lake Bonavista, tennis courts, a big hill with waterfalls. It's quite something. And it was the first man-made lake of its kind in Calgary to be incorporated into a neighborhood. And from what I understand, the water is sourced from the Bow River still for the lake. Now, I think this road coming up is Lake Mead, something, Lake Mead. All the streets in Lake Bonavista are named after lakes. And I had several friends that lived down here on Lake Mead Road and Lake Mead Green. Let's see how good my memory is. Yeah. Lake Mead Drive. And over that way and around a few corners would be Lake Bonaventure. So, those houses there back onto Lake Bonavista. So they're directly on the lake and they all have a dock into the lake. There's Rudolph. So I'm still walking here. I've got a little further to go. I might have been walking about 10 minutes so far. And to my left, I'm going to jaywalk here and get over to the lake side of Bonavista Drive. Yeah, I could take a walk through there. There's some beautiful homes back onto the lake. That whole area is quite nice. And these are 2 hockey arenas. I forget which is which. Frank McCool is one, and then I forget the name of the other one. By now the lake should be frozen over, but from what I understand and I heard on the news, typically every winter by this time that's a good foot or more thick of ice, and they would actually bring a Zamboni out and clean the ice down so it's skatable. And they would make paths all over the ice. Let's see if we can see. So, as far as you can see to the other side, that's the other side. Then the lake wraps around that hill. That's the hill where the waterfalls are there on the other side. And the waterfall is just fed from the lake, and it's just recirculated. It's a loop. And that's one of the beaches. It's really terrible seeing this in the winter because it's one beach and then there's another beach on the other side. So we're coming up to Acadia Drive, and I lived on the other side of Acadia. So there's an idea. You can get an idea what that would look like in the summer. All the docks, all those homes that back onto the lake, all the way around the lake, they all have their own little private dock for their boats and whatever. Pretty cool. So I've walked a little further. So there's the island. We used to swim out there from the other beach. It's much closer than from here. And we would party out there. We'd either swim or take a canoe. And we had usually some beer with us or something. That was a lot of fun. There's people walking around the pathway in there, so obviously it's open. It's open year round. And the other side of this hill right here, that hill, there's a toboggan run. So you'd climb up the hill with your inner tube or your toboggan and slide down, and that was a lot of fun. So yeah, those are some of the positive memories. So now we're coming to Acadia Drive, and that's the defining line. That's how I always divided Bonavista from Bonaventure, is by Acadia Drive that runs north-south. So everything on that side of Acadia Drive would be Lake Bonavista. And I was thinking of walking to my old home this way, but I'm going to walk this way to Bonavista Shopping Center and get a coffee. It's a bit of a hike. And I have the lake property on my left. And there used to be a gate. Yeah, it's still there. There was a gate entry up here, but you have to present your pass. I forget what we used to pay as residents in Lake Bonavista. I think Dad paid maybe $100 a year. No, it must have been more than that. I forget. Maybe $1,000 a year? I don't know. And I actually still have my Lake Bonavista card, not in my wallet. Otherwise I'd try to get in. That'd be funny. So you can kind of see the lake through the trees. There's some picnic tables, and yeah, and there's the houses that I just filmed a minute ago. It's a really great place for a family to grow up. I mean, I can only imagine what these homes cost now. Millions. Houses are very expensive in Calgary. I'd say just a bi-level house like that would be probably $700,000 or $800,000. Because if you go into areas like Southwood, where the houses are maybe 10 to 15 years older, you're looking at $500,000 for a 1,000 square foot home. And the fact that this is in Lake Bonavista, easily $700,000 or $800,000 for that house. When you go to Winnipeg and you buy a house in any random area in Winnipeg, you might be paying $350,000, $400,000 at the most. Yeah, I think you can still get a decent sized bungalow in Winnipeg, like Westwood, for maybe $300,000. And here's the gate. But maybe that'd be neat if the guy let me in. But they've got that locked. Maybe they only have this gate open during the summer, by the looks of it. Yeah. And here is more of the park. Yeah, I got a bit of a hike. Way up where those people are is where the mall is, just past those people way ahead of me. See, there's a man walking along the path inside. Yeah, it's a beautiful day, so sunny out. It's a good thing I didn't come yesterday because it was a tad cooler and it was wet. Rainy, snowy. From what I see, we're supposed to have plus temperatures right through the month of December into January, according to the long-range forecast. And there's the tennis courts over here. So now here's Bonavista Mall on my left, and the Esso is still here. I remember they built that Esso the year we moved here, in 1977. And that's the old AGT, Alberta Government Telephones building, one of them. Now it's TELUS. TELUS is in charge of our communications. And this half of the mall, this back half of the mall was built later. It would have been built around 1979, and the older part of the mall is on the other side. I could go the front way, but it's sunnier on the back. And the lake property is still on my left here. I don't think there's any stores that existed here when I grew up other than Safeway maybe and Shoppers Drug Mart and Max. But I think Max would now be a Circle K. Everything else did not exist. There was a really cool record store in here that would actually deliver records to your house. If you requested, they would deliver it. I got my Rolling Stones Emotional Rescue album delivered to my door. And there used to be a real estate agency in here. And I remember going in there with my father, talking to the realtor before we got the keys for our home. That was right where the chiropractor was, or where the animal clinic, one of the two. And here's the main gate to Lake Bonavista. There's people out there skating on the pleasure rink. I'm going to ask the guy if I can go in. I doubt he'd let me, but you never know. Well, guess what? I'm in. So this is beautiful. And they used to have a big fire pit in the middle when I was a kid. During the summer, these are shuffleboard. You use like that big cane, that stick, and it's like a shuffleboard kind of game. And this is where the boats used to launch. You could rent a canoe. So maybe they have the, see, this black rubber is for skates. So they have a portion of the rink, of the lake cleared for skating. But I saw on the news a week ago that it had been too warm here in Calgary and they weren't going to do this. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it's solid enough. See, there's the dock, that little thing out there. I used to swim out to there. And then we'd make our journey to the island. We'd swim out to the island there. And there's a dock there too. That's really cool that she let me in. Oh yeah. Watch me fall through. So it's all cleared. But imagine, oh, and they did clear lots of this. Imagine many years ago, it was all cleared by Zamboni. Let's say 10-foot wide trails going all the way around the lake. It was just something else at night to skate here. It's beautiful. And they really do a good job of cleaning the ice. It's nice and smooth. And that is the Bonavista Inn, or it used to be. There was a restaurant, bar, lounge. They had live entertainment. But now I think it's a professional building. There's doctors and lawyer offices and whatever in there. That's so cool that I'm walking on Lake Bonavista. Now, we used to jump off that roof. Whoa, it's cracking underneath my feet. That's funny. Probably nothing to worry about. I've heard ice crack before on bigger, scarier lakes than this. But still, I make my way to the dock. Looks like somebody was ice fishing here. Yeah. So as I was saying, we used to jump off that roof. So the yellow house next to it, there was a little partition in between. We could climb the fence, somehow climb up onto that roof and jump into the lake. And you'd have to push off the roof to get some distance. I can't believe I used to do that. And people would be sitting on the balcony having their dinner, watching their kids jump off. And as a matter of fact, that happened once with a friend of mine. His parents happened to be sitting there eating dinner and he jumped right off. I guess we yelled his name and his parents started screaming at him to get out of the water and whatever. But that was a lot of fun jumping off that roof. I doubt very much anybody does that these days. But I'm just going to zoom in a little bit and pan around the lake and you can kind of see some of the homes. And the lake goes even further to the right, up around that bend. And there's the island. Now, if you were to follow that string of houses along the shore and continue, that's where I was walking earlier by that fence. And I'll walk by the hill in a minute. Yeah, they got all this cleared. Isn't that cool? I hope I don't have this zoomed out too much. I got to look at it when I get in a better light. So this is one of the beaches here, all underneath this snow. All around here is beach, all the way up to that point. And the other side of the hill has the same kind of beaches. And I'll show you the toboggan run that we used to go down. I guess I can walk. No, I'll just go this way again. So there's one path that goes around the large hill to the other beach. You could take it this way, or you can go this way. So I'm going to walk a little ways. Yeah, it's nice out. I think we must be at least 4 degrees now, and it's not even noon. I think we're supposed to peak at 8 or 10 degrees today. The nice thing is it's beautiful blue sky. So wow, I haven't seen this from this perspective in a long time. So on my left is the waterfall. See if I can get past these trees so the sun doesn't obstruct. So you can imagine in the summer, when this is turned on, the waterfall begins at the top of the hill and comes all the way through. It's really, really cool. And there's some areas where there's no rocks and it's man-made, so it's smooth concrete. And we used to slide on our butts all the way down. And there's a photo I took of Donna that I posted today, as a matter of fact, with Dad, and that would have been right at that waterfall there. I won't bother walking up. Toboggan Hill. I was just talking to a gentleman here from Washington State. His wife and him are here with the grandkids visiting. I'm just going to wait for somebody to start coming down. And back in the day, we'd whiz down that on our inner tube or whatever. Here comes somebody. But they're not going very fast. Woo! Let's see if she makes it to the sidewalk. Oh yeah, she's got good speed. Right on. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's how far I used to go, right out onto the lake. That's great. She had a lot of momentum there. Yeah. Good one. You're off the lake. Yeah, I was talking to that fellow from Washington State for at least 40 minutes. So now we're making the bend here. There's the kids tobogganing. They're having a lot of fun. And, well, we were just discussing, he was asking me about how old the lake is, and from what I understand, they broke ground in 1969 or 1970, and the lake was developed by 1971, by which point they were already building a lot of these homes. And yeah, what a cool place to grow up. But yeah, the little girl overheard me, because she lives in Lake Bonavista, about how they used to make the 10-foot wide paths with a Zamboni to skate on, and she said they still do. But this year the weather's been too warm, and but it looks like somebody's been out there a little ways scraping. that. I would not want to skate on that. It's being a little too warm. So we'll walk around. Yeah, that island was so much fun. I think I even camped out overnight there. And they used to have a security guy that would come around on his boat with his floodlight, but he didn't see us. Fun times, you know. Now I'm gonna get a lot of sun in my face on this part of the walk. But this hill, lots of beautiful trees up there and benches. And you can see the orange fence straight ahead, the snowdrift fence, and that's where I was walking earlier. It was on my left when I walked by there. I won't bother walking all the way around. It's just another beach around the bend. The lake continues up that way. And I'll head her out of here. I'm gonna go get my coffee that I was gonna do over an hour ago. But look at that shot, it's beautiful. That white snow and ice. Wow. Yeah, somebody's ATV vehicle had driven out on the ice here. Yeah, I knew I said that I wouldn't continue my journey on this side, but I thought, what the heck? It's not like I'm here every day. I might as well walk the whole park or around the shore. Anyway. Wow. I didn't realize there's kind of like two hills. There's like a little dividing thing there. Looks like their vehicles cut through there, the park vehicles. And then this hill. I could climb up there, you know. You know what? I think I will, to get a view from there. Let's just see if as long as I don't slip and fall on my face. I have to do the old herringbone type, angle my feet. I didn't think I'd be videotaping this, but well, I still got it in me. There used to be a nice big tree here. And that's where those kids might be tobogganing from over there. Wow. That's really cool. And there's a bench up here. There's several benches around here. Whew. I hope I'm still recording. Wow. Oh, that's really cool. Wow. Clouds are covering the mountains. I don't know, over here you can see them. Way off in the distance there. Wow. Didn't think I'd be doing this today. So we're in the far south end of Calgary. This used to be as far south as Calgary went when I was a boy. But now there's many communities that lie further south. Kilometer after kilometer. What I think I'm going to do is there's a ridge here. I can follow this ridge down and then I'll come out on the path over here and continue. Yeah, I'd forgotten all about the nice trees and grass up here. It's beautiful, you know. Somebody was making snowmen, rolling snowballs down the hill. Yeah, I wonder what it costs to live here in this neighborhood now. Okay. And that's nice. So this is the other beach in front of me here. And there's like a little sheltered picnic area. 2 more docks out in the water. Or the ice. And this is the gate that I walked by earlier that was locked. So it paid off. I actually didn't think that anybody would let me in, but what she said was during business hours, most staff here would never let anybody in, but she would make an exception. And I didn't have to beg. I just told her my story, that I grew up here and it would be nice. She asked how long I would be. I said half an hour to 45 minutes, but I spent 40 talking to a fellow, so it's more like an hour. And tennis courts are right there. And here's the other side of the hill. Wow. There's the Esso. And I'm going to kind of walk towards my old home now. So I used to always take the alleys home from here when I was a kid and from school, when accessible, when there was an alley. And I remember walking along this retaining wall. That was pretty high when you were a little kid. I remember walking all the way along that. So I'm on Lake Bonavista Drive, heading to my old house. And this is Lake Twin Tree Drive. I could go that way, and I would have normally taken the back alleys and behind all these streets. And we lived on Lake Sundance Crescent, and that's way up there as far as you can see, and then around a bend and double this distance. So it's a bit of a hike. It's crazy to think the last time I walked on this sidewalk, I was a teenager. Wow. It's really a bizarre feeling. So now we are on the east side of Lake Bonavista Drive. And just up here, over the hill, we used to toboggan down this hill. That would be Queensland down there. Queensland was developed a few years before Lake Bonavista, maybe 5 years earlier. So all these houses in Lake Bonavista would have been built early 1970s, late 60s, early 70s. And just down the hill, they used to call this Bonavista Downs. Maybe they still do. But on the other side of the highway there is Queensland. Yeah, there's my street, Lake Sundance Crescent. It's a big loop, but I'm going to go on the other side where we lived. So there's Bonavista Drive, Sundance Crescent, Lake Sundance Crescent. So our house is just up here on the left. This all looks kind of the same. This fence, I believe, was even here 40 years ago. Quite possibly it was new then. All the big poplar trees are gone. Every yard had a massive poplar tree, but those grew so quickly and the roots just destroyed sidewalks. So there's none of them left, not one, unless there's some small suckers growing, but all the big poplars are gone. Such a weird feeling right now walking up here. I've driven here twice with Dushka over the last decade or more, but never have I walked up to my old house. Yeah, it's different. A couple of these houses look identical as to how I remember them. And that's my old house. These pine trees used to be like 3 feet tall when I lived here. They were tiny. I used to mow around them. Now they're massive. That house is identical to what it used to be. Wow. So my bedroom would have been down there in the basement. Donna's would have been up there. So, yeah. And in the backyard, we had a hot tub back there. We lived here, it was green, a really tacky green aluminum siding. They've changed that out. The windows are all new too. And the front yard is totally different. This sidewalk used to be a single patio stone around like an L shape. And there used to be a couple of bushes here. Poplar tree was here. This pine tree was always quite big, but those two there were really small at that time, these trees. And there's a cedar that my dad planted, that cedar, I believe. That cedar was like this, 2 or 3 feet tall at that time. So anyway, I'm going to kind of just do a loop around here and then this would have been a crosswalk that Donna would have taken to school. She would have gone out the back alley, of course. I'm just going to walk back there. And here's the garage that we had built. The white garage here. New fence, totally different fence. Wow, different garbage stoop. Everything here is quite different. So that would have been Donna's school over there. I don't think you can see it because of the sunlight and the schoolyard. That's Andrew Sibbald Elementary. And this is Lake Twin Tree Drive. Petru's used to live there. I think they might still. Well, kids would be my age, but the parents, I believe, Ed Petru still lives there, the father. And this would have been the crosswalk Donna would have taken to and from school. Down here, I'm going to go catch the bus to go back home at my old bus stop. Just at the end of the road here, the end of Twin Tree Drive, Lake Twin Tree. I forgot how big some of the alleys, the back lanes are in Calgary. How wide they are. So this is one of the ways I would have walked to and from Bonavista Shopping Center and to school. Though for school I would have hung a left here, cut across the field and then taken another alley out. It was all about the back lanes for me. Yeah, really wide lanes. And all the residential streets in Calgary have wide roads, enough for 2 cars, and sidewalks on either side. When I was a kid growing up in Winnipeg, you barely had enough room for 1 car, let alone 2. And there was rarely sidewalks, unless you were on a main road. But even the smallest streets in Calgary have a sidewalk on either side. Yeah, when you think about it, a wide alley like this isn't that necessary. I mean, that's nice though. I had a lot of friends that lived down this alley, but I wouldn't be able to find their house from the front today. I'd easily find it from the back lane, but the alley dwellers we were.